Chapter 1, Understanding the Marketplace, is where we begin this discussion. And when we're looking at the marketplace itself, it has a structure. There's an industry structure that's there. There's consumer behavior, which we take in consideration from a marketing perspective. There's global marketing because we no longer can look at things on a local, regional, or national basis. There's marketing segmentation as a component. The value proposition and how we build that is important. And then last but not least, the SWOT, how the SWOT helps us formulate our marketing plan and pull things together for us. So, the industry structure. We operate in a capitalistic society that allows us to have various types of structures that help us from a marketing perspective. Pure monopoly is one of those, and these are firms like the post office or utilities that have government regulation in behind them and support of them. An oligopoly, which is a type of firm, or excuse me, type of industry where we have large firms like steel and oil, and then they differentiate themselves from their product and the fact that they have only a few companies that operate within that particular area. Monopolistic competition. We have a lot of competitors, like in restaurants and barbershops, but they specialize in a particular segment to help meet consumer needs. And then pure competition. And that's where most of us are most familiar. Large number of firms, large number of competitors, and then limited government intervention and regulation. So after we look at that industry structure, then marketers are really interested in consumer behavior and how to move that to stimulate consumers to make a purchase decision. So in order to make a decision about a purchase or product or service, there has to be a value proposition laid on the table. And in creating that value proposition, marketers take into consideration that there are influencing factors such as the person's culture, their psychic, their social upbringing, and then their personal values and beliefs, but also that there are decision making factors to take in consideration, including need recognition, information collection, value acquisition, and value assessment. Thinking more into this realm around the consumer behavior and how marketers push this envelope, there is a need recognition that we alluded to in the decision making process or influencing process. So here's how that need recognition works from a marketing standpoint. So if you go in your cupboard and you see that there are no potato chips, the marketers go and they recognize that they need to provide or supply various types of potato chips in the local grocery store where you might purchase them. And so they fill this shortcoming of products. This they do also by collecting information from you while you're searching for potato chips. So they may figure out through a scan or a survey that there's certain types of chips you like, there are certain flavors and et cetera and styles. And so what they will then do is they will introduce these various products to you. After they've collected that information, this creates a value for you as a consumer, and you make a decision to purchase potato chips when you're in the grocery store. And the marketers are the ones that produce that value. And so, as a result of that, in order to get you to go and make that purchase again, you really do a comparison of the value of the potato chips that you purchased that are available to you, and marketers then get you to repeat that consumer behavior if at all possible. Now, you've got to extrapolate that out to a global marketing perspective. And in doing so, you really have to look at global marketing from an assessment standpoint first, that we're not operating on a local marketplace basis. We are operating on a global marketplace. And within that, it becomes very important to understand that we've got to get ourselves organizationally geared up to perform well, build a solid strategy, and use the technological advances out there that can help us in the marketplace to be competitive. We also have to analyze what we're doing. And in that analysis, there are environmental opportunities, governmental actions, even a consumer strength that's important for us to be able to make sure we understand as we're pulling together our marketing plan and strategy. This strategy is really centered around the 5 Ps, which we'll talk about, and our SWOT. Next, we have to have adaptation and the ability to have that flexibility in your strategy, taking it from a local, regional, or even state effort to a global effort. And think in terms of if you had a web presence today, you would immediately be global because anyone could access that web presence presence based upon how you set it up to be on the internet. Also, an adaptation, competitor, supplier, supply and demand is really important when we're looking at an integrated marketing effort. And then, last but not least, how do we apply things? So, in application, we're looking to pull the strategy out and then apply it in our marketing plan, as well as we're looking to be able to communicate that effectively and then, therefore, kind of push the envelope in the way of change. And when I say that, I mean that you have to stay competitive in marketing. And from a global standpoint, this is exponentially even more so the case. So change is going to be inevitable. So you might as well get in front of it rather than wait for change to come to you from a marketing perspective. So let's take that marketing discussion a little bit further and look at segmentation. So marketing segmentation is just a matter of what it says. You're kind of divvying up or dividing up the market, and you're doing so in just a few key areas, either by mass marketing, so that you mass promote or even mass distribute products and services. You can do segment marketing, where you're looking to communicate choice for the consumer or distribute choice for the consumer. And then you can do it in niche or niche marketing, where you look to even target the communications effectively that you're going after portion of the segment, or there's a varied distribution choice that you may have in doing so. The goal is to be able to segment well, and then we build the type of marketing through our strategy, which then enables us to take our tactics and figure out how we're going to get this done. And that's all a function of the marketing plan itself. So this customer value that's so important, that we as marketers are constantly looking to manipulate, really stems from two particular areas. The first one is the marketing mix, which is nothing more than the 5 P's that we just alluded to in the previous slide: price, product, place, position, and promotion. And then customer value based upon influences. And so those influences can be situational in nature, they can be social in nature, and they can also be psychological in nature. Now, we get to a position where we're looking to try to build a SWOT. And the SWOT is nothing more than strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal to the organization. Opportunities and threats are considered external. Strengths and opportunities are favorable. Weaknesses and threats are unfavorable. So as we build these SWOTs and we pull together the answers to these questions, what becomes most important is not the SWOT itself, which has to be strong, but it's the analysis. How do we compare our strengths to our opportunities, and what are we going to do about it? Likewise, comparing weaknesses to opportunities, strengths to threats, weaknesses to threats. This is really where we get the impetus of our work done, because we've got to be able to build a strong analysis to then put forth a very good strategy. That strategy then allows us to be able to build very good marketing programs. Here's some definitions that probably would be helpful for you to make sure that you understand: consumer behavior being one of those, the value proposition being yet another, social needs being the third one. The ability to look at primary groups is yet another. And then last but not least, lifestyle as a definition that may be beneficial for you. So what did we learn today? Well, we've got this structure we operate in the marketplace, and it helps us understand the playing field by which we're going to market, and it's an introduction to that as we then foray into deeper how we then operate effectively in this or on this playing field. Here is your thought for the day: wise people speak because they have something to say. Less than wise people because they have to say something.